I'm Paddy from creativemedia.org.uk, and this is going to be my last play on this XW-P1. I'm going to sell it because I have 3 keyboards and that's too many. I know some people have got a lot more than 3 keyboards, but 3 is too many for me. I'm not playing this one much now. I've got a master keyboard which I can transport around, and if this one had the sounds of my JV1010 Roland module, I'd definitely keep it, but the sounds just aren't as nice, in my opinion. That was my favourite sound. That's one of the hex layer sounds, which is a stack. I've got a stack of 4 sounds there. I think you can stack up to 8 sounds, maybe even more. So you can get much richer sounds, but even so, you lose a lot of polyphony there. So even though this thing's got 64 notes polyphony, you're going to lose a lot of that because I'm down to 16, I think, with that 4-layer one, and if I add more, it'll half again. So, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to mess around with Midi Designer, which is an app on the tablet, on the iPad. I don't think you can get it for non-iPad things, but I'm not sure. And what that does is control some monosynth on this. And I rather glibly said in the review I did recently of this keyboard that the synth wasn't really a proper synth, really, and you couldn't really get any interesting sounds on it. So I'm going to see with this tablet to control everything on here, whether I can make it sound a bit more interesting. So out of the hex mode into the synth mode, and it's got like tons and tons of different synths, but to me they they all sound kind of a bit similar. That's a riff, isn't it? Anyway, but yeah, they're not. There's nothing kind of. They're just sort of melodic sounds, and you would have thought with so many presets on here. Having said that, that's quite an interesting sound. That's probably the only kind of interesting sound on there, which is a bit out of the ordinary and a bit moving. So I'm going to zoom in on this and I'll show you what you can do with Midi Designer, which is free. If you've got the manual for this, then you can download, I think it's got details, I can't remember exactly where they are now, but if you download the manual, the PDF, you should be able to find details of how to get the free version of this Midi Designer, which is quite useful. Right, I hope that's given you a reasonable view of the interface there. I've been a bit lazy today, I should have done a screen capture of this, but I'm not going to. And you can see I'm using the very useful iPad area of the XW, but me having an enormous iPad Pro from quite a few years ago, it's a little bit too big to fit, but still it stays on, so that's good. So we've got the interface here. We've got 6, I'm going to call them oscillators, 6 sound sources or something maybe. Syn 1 and Syn 2, they must be oscillators, I think. PCM 1 and PCM 2, pulse code modulation, that's wobbling, isn't it? Could you call it an oscillator as well? I'm not sure. And you've got the external input sound, which obviously doesn't go into the iPad, it goes into the external input here on the keyboard. So you can bring in external sound and add that to this sound you've got going on. So I'm going to start with just one sound, it's Syn 1. And we've got a level control here, which isn't controlling the level. What's going on? And on the wrong one. Syn 1. So we've got screens across here. Syn 1, Syn 2, PCM 1, PCM 2, the external and the noise. And you've got the same pretty much set of controls, I think, on all of them. Apart from, the noise oscillator. That's just, we've got different kinds of noise, have we? That's interesting. Let's hear the different noises. We'll need some level on that first. The thing with the iPad is you've got multi-touch, so you can adjust many levels at once, which is quite useful on this kind of thing. Yeah, so we've got lots of noises. And we've got this pad here where we can control the resonance and cutoff. And the good thing with this being connected up to the XW-P1 is if I turn the knobs on the XW-P1, it updates straight away. It's instant. No delays or catching up with itself or anything. That's an interesting kind of noise. Got that riff in the head now. So there's the noise. Interestingly, I think I'll try this. If I turn that off and on again and hold the note down, it won't come on again until I press the note again. That's just one of the kind of limitations of this keyboard that irritates me a bit. So if I turn it down and turn it up again and keep the note down, that's fine. But you'd hope that would come back on again if I was holding the key down. Oh well, not a big thing. So let's go for the back to Syn 1. We got all these waveforms. And there's an individual portamento for each of the oscillators here. So you can have, let's have a slow portamento on that one and a quick one on this one. Yeah. That's interesting. I was trying that earlier on with a brass sound. I had 4 different brassy sounds with a slightly different portamento time between each, and you got a really lovely, rich kind of let's actually demo that. So let's have these fairly fast. PCM. Then that's too fast. If I put all those on. One's a bit slow there, isn't it? Oh, that's too slow. A bit too slow now. Gives you a sort of rich chorusy sound between the two. I don't know. Makes sense to me. Right, but let's see if there's anything interesting we can do. Well, we've got a level, which is the same level here as over here. We've got a filter. See, I'm not really noticing the cutoff doing much on each of these individual filters here. There's an envelope, and you can get the LFOs to control these. That's the main interesting thing you can do is these LFOs, and I'll show you that in a bit. Now, what's going on there? Key. Filter. I don't know why the filter has a key. Doesn't make sense to me, that. And the pitch should have a key. That's not pitch. Yes, it is pitch. That's oscillator. Now that should be changing the pitch, I would have thought. So I've got a pitch attack going on there. Oh, there we go. I think the key follower was messing with the pitch thing, so I can set the key there. I can see that's a CZ wave, which must be from the old 80s, and CZ 101 and CZ 1000, 2000, 2000, 3000 keyboards, which were probably the best proper keyboards that Casio ever made, I think. Apart from some of the pianos are rather good, even though they're cheap. Interestingly, here on the oscillator, once you get up to so far, I'm talking rubbish again? No, I'm not. Yeah, once you get up to so far, about 310 I think it is. Yeah, beyond 310, the number changes, but there's the same sound, so even though it goes up to 766 different waveforms, there really are, for this section, the synth section, there's only about 310 of them. But that said, most synthesizers have about 4 or 5 waveforms. SH bass, that must be like based on a Roland SH-101. So let's bring in another synth. It's starting to sound a bit more interesting now anyway. On the PCMs, turn those two down. PCM sounds have a whole lot of different noises in there. The numbering's a bit odd. That's weird. So that's counting up to 99, and then down again to, that's like going in banks, so there's like, who knows how many banks of, 21 banks of 99 sounds, or 64 sounds or something. So it's not actually telling you what, it's not actually telling you what waveform you're getting here. You just have to keep twiddling through until you get something you like the sound of. Let's just put something on this one as well, just randomly. So you can get all the drum sounds here as well. Those are like single hit sounds. That'll be interesting. Okay, so that's all that lot. So this solo all section, I guess that's an envelope for everything at once. Let's turn the rest up and see what happens. Yes, that'll be a global envelope. Go for a low pass filter. Okay, well, let's get into the effects. We can bypass all the effects here, turn off the global reverb, or turn it up. Here's some of the interesting stuff. You can get distortion. You only get one of these at once. We've got distortion, flanger, auto pan, delay. In theory, these bits here tell you what each of these knobs do, I think. I'm not convinced they do, really, because there's nothing written there, but this knob here is clearly doing something to the ring modulation. Let's switch those off for now. Interesting stuff is these LFOs. As you can see, you can tempo sync them, so if I was to play the one of the sequence things going, that would sync up to that. So I'm going to turn that off and mess around with these a bit. Let's put on. Now here's an interesting thing. LFO1, rate, rise, delay, depth. I don't know what the MW depth is. LFO2, delay, rise, rate. They're just like a different order. You would have thought these would be in the same order as each other. It makes sense, maybe. There could be a good reason for it. Let's have a nice deep depth to that. Set this to a saw and set that to a trill. Now we can start messing around a bit. Right, there we go. So if I set, there we go. So I'm setting the amplitude and pitch to match that LFO on some of these. Working very well, this. Let's press it. This is kind of sounding a bit interesting. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. I could mess around with some delay on here. Anyway, that's some of what you can do with this thing here. Whether you like it much, I don't know, but you could do an interesting kind of off-the-wall synthy thing with this, which is a world away from all the all the other sounds it does. So it makes it quite versatile, but whether it's worth the effort, you decide. I think I decided, and this one's going to be selling. So thanks for watching, and goodbye from the waving hand.